Ladies and gentlemen, time, what a gift, what a precious, irreplaceable asset. We all get the same 24 hours, the rich, the poor, the wise, the foolish. But it's what we do with those hours that makes the difference. Some people multiply their time. Others squander it, and the worst part, they don't even know they're doing it. So today, I want to give you a little wake-up call. A gentle but firm shake of the shoulders. Stop wasting time on these things. Stop wasting time on excuses. Excuses are clever little lies we tell ourselves to stay comfortable. They sound like logic, but they're actually fear in disguise. They dress up as reason, but they're nothing more than permission slips for procrastination. Every time you reach for an excuse, you're negotiating against your own potential. You're taking your foot off the gas and convincing yourself the road is blocked when really, it's wide open. People say things like, "I wasn't born with the right connections," or "I never had the proper education," or "I'm too old," or "I'm too young." But let's get honest, those aren't barriers. They're barricades we build with our own hands. History is full of people who started with nothing, no money, no name, no chance, and still built a life worth talking about. So the question isn't what you have or don't have. The real question is, what are you doing with what you've got? Excuses are attractive because they take the pressure off. They let you shift the blame. It's easy to say, "It's not my fault," but here's a truth most people don't want to hear. If you keep handing off the responsibility, you also hand off the power. You can't steer a car from the back seat. You've got to take the wheel. Excuses take that wheel right out of your hands. There's something dangerous about a well-polished excuse. It can actually start to sound noble. "I couldn't start my business because I had to support my family." That sounds selfless. But did you look for a smarter way? Or did you settle for an easy answer? "I don't have time." Well, who does? Everyone's busy. Some people are raising kids, running businesses, working night shifts, and they still find a way. You don't need more hours in a day. You need fewer excuses in your vocabulary. Some excuses are rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of success even, because success comes with responsibility, with higher expectations, with less room to hide. And so, people make excuses not because they're lazy, but because they're scared. But let me tell you something, fear has no power unless you feed it. Every time you choose to act in spite of fear, you weaken it. Every time you make an excuse, you make it stronger. Excuses are also habitual. They become patterns. You make one, then another, and pretty soon you've built a wall around your life. A wall made of someday, and maybe, and if only. And then you wonder why nothing changes. You wonder why you're still in the same place year after year. You're not stuck, you're just circling the same set of reasons that keep you in place. Now, I'm not saying life is easy. I'm not saying every challenge is imagined. Some people really do have it harder, but let's not confuse difficulty with impossibility. You can acknowledge your obstacles without giving them authority. There's a difference between recognizing what's in your way and worshiping it like a god that controls your destiny. You've got to get honest with yourself, brutally honest. When you catch yourself saying, "I can't," ask, is it true? Or is it just convenient? Are you choosing to protect your pride instead of growing your courage? Are you more committed to comfort than to change? Because your excuses will defend your comfort zone with everything they've got. If you want to change your life, the first thing you've got to do is stop lying to yourself. Stop pretending the world is holding you back. Most of the time, it's not the world, it's the story you're telling yourself about why you can't move forward. Change the story, change the outcome. Some people will try to justify their excuses by pointing out other people's failures. Well, so tried and didn't make it. But someone else's failure is not your permission to quit. It's their story, not yours. You don't know what they did or didn't do. What matters is what you do. You're the one writing your own script. Excuses are thieves. They steal your time, your energy, your momentum. They rob you of experiences, of growth, of confidence, and they do it silently with a smile. You don't even realize what's missing until a year has gone by, and you're still standing in the same spot. Stop wasting time on negative people. Negative people are like anchors tied to your ankles. Every time you try to move forward, they pull you back down, and the tragedy is, they don't even know they're doing it half the time. Some people have lived in negativity so long it's become their normal. They speak in complaints, think in limits, and act in fear. Spend too much time around that energy, and it becomes your normal too. You don't need to hate them. You don't even need to fight them, but you do need to protect your mind. Because the people you spend time with shape the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act. If you hang around people who are always talking about how hard life is, how unfair everything is, how success is just luck or privilege, that mentality will start to feel reasonable. You'll start to absorb it, not because you agree, but because repetition is powerful. You hear something enough times, you stop questioning it. Negative people will question your ambition, mock your goals, and laugh at your plans. Not because they're smarter, but because they're scared. Your drive reminds them of their lack of it. Your courage highlights their fear, and instead of facing that fear, they try to drag you back to their comfort zone. Misery doesn't just love company, it recruits it. They'll say things like, "Don't get your hopes up," or "You're not being realistic." But here's the truth, realistic is just code for safe. It's a fence built by people who gave up trying to climb. And if you let them, they'll wrap that fence around your mind. They'll tell you stories about all the people who failed, about everything that could go wrong. And if you're not careful, their doubts will start to sound like wisdom. Their pessimism will sound like experience. Some people are addicted to negativity. They always have a problem, always a crisis, always a reason to be upset. And when there isn't one, they'll invent it. Because it gives them something to talk about, something to feel important about. You try to bring up a solution, and they dismiss it, not because it won't work, but because fixing the problem takes away their identity. Some people would rather be right about how hard life is than be free from it. You don't owe anyone your energy. You can love someone and still keep your distance. You can care about someone and still protect your peace. This isn't about being cold, it's about being wise. You can't plant seeds in poisoned soil and expect a harvest. If someone's always raining on your dreams, it's okay to walk away and find sunlight. Negative people often disguise themselves as realists. They claim they're just being practical, just telling the truth, but there's a difference between truth and toxicity. Truth acknowledges the challenge but looks for the path forward. Negativity stares at the wall and talks about how high it is. Truth says, it's hard, but it's possible. Negativity says, why even try? You've got to be deliberate about who gets your time. Time is not just a measure of hours, it's a transfer of life. You're not just spending time with someone, you're trading energy. Ask yourself, after being with this person, do I feel stronger or smaller, uplifted or drained, motivated or doubtful? That answer will tell you everything. It's not just about the loud, obviously toxic people either. Sometimes negativity wears a quiet smile. The friend who always changes the subject when you talk about your dreams. The coworker who subtly mocks your ambition. The family member who always finds a way to remind you of what didn't work last time. Their words don't have to be cruel to be damaging. Sometimes it's the slow drip of doubt that does the most harm. Protect your vision. Protect your mindset. You don't need approval from people who don't believe in growth. You don't need permission from those who have settled for less. Your life is too short to be spent arguing with people who don't want to understand. You have goals, you have purpose, and you need people around you who make that flame burn brighter, not people who try to blow it out every time it starts to glow. Stop wasting time on things you can't control. One of the most exhausting uses of your time is trying to control the uncontrollable. People spend hours, days, even years worrying about what might happen, what others think, what the economy will do, what the weather will be, how someone might react, or whether the world is being fair. The problem is, none of that is up to you. You can stress over it, argue with it, plan around it, and it still won't bend to your will. And while you're busy trying to manage things outside your reach, the things within your reach sit untouched. There's a difference between influence and control. You can influence people by example, by kindness, by consistency, but you can't control them. You can inspire them, but you can't make their choices for them. You can prepare for the future, but you can't predict it. The more time you spend trying to twist the world into your design, the more frustrated you become when it doesn't cooperate. Control gives the illusion of security. People think, if I can just manage every little thing, then I'll feel safe. But that safety is fragile. It crumbles the moment life throws a curvy ball. And life will throw curvy balls. The question isn't if, it's when. You can't stop the wind from blowing, but you can adjust your sails. You can't control the storm, but you can decide how you'll respond to it. So many people waste time obsessing over how someone treated them, what someone said, whether they were misunderstood. They replay conversations in their heads, rewrite arguments, try to imagine what they should have said or could have done, but the moment is gone. The past cannot be changed. The future cannot be guaranteed. All you have is now, and now is slipping away while your mind is stuck somewhere else. Trying to control outcomes is another trap. You can work hard, be consistent, give your best, but you still can't control the result. Sometimes you won't get the job, sometimes the relationship won't work, sometimes the project will fail. That's not weakness, that's reality. The seed doesn't guarantee the harvest, it just creates the possibility. Your job is to plant, to water, to show up. What grows and how it grows isn't always your decision. Some people try to control other people's opinions. They want to be liked by everyone. They want approval from every direction. So they overthink, over-apologize, and overperform. But the truth is, no matter how careful you are, someone will misunderstand you. Someone won't like you. Someone will have something negative to say. That's their choice, and it's not your job to change it. The more you try to win every heart and mind, the more you lose yourself in the process. There's freedom in letting go, not giving up, letting go. There's a difference. Giving up is about quitting effort. Letting go is about quitting attachment to what you cannot command. It's about releasing the mental grip you keep on outcomes that were never yours to own. You don't need the whole world to agree with you. You don't need every detail to go your way. You need to control what you can your thoughts, your effort, your attitude, your focus, and stop trying to control the rest. Worry is another thief of time. People think worry is a form of preparation. It's not. It's just mental rehearsal for things you don't want. You run through every bad scenario in your head, thinking it makes you stronger, when really it just makes you tired. You can be aware of risk without being consumed by it. You can be responsible without being obsessive. Planning is productive. Paralyzing fear is not. Letting go of control doesn't mean being passive. It means being wise with your energy. It means choosing where to place your attention and choosing not to invest it in chaos. You can't stop the market from crashing, but you can learn new skills. You can't stop a storm from coming, but you can fix the roof. You can't force someone to love you, but you can become someone who loves themselves enough not to settle for less. The people who make the most progress in life are not the ones who try to dominate the world, but the ones who learn to master themselves. They learn to respond instead of react. They learn to adapt instead of control. They understand that peace isn't found in fixing everything, it's found in choosing what's worth fixing and what's worth releasing. Time is too precious to spend it fighting battles that don't belong to you. Stop wasting time on meaningless entertainment. In today's world, entertainment is everywhere. It's in your pocket, your living room, your workplace, even your hand while you're walking down the street. With a single tap, you can drown out your thoughts, escape your discomfort, and avoid your responsibilities. The world has made distraction so easy. It's become the default setting for many people's lives. But the question is, at what cost? Every hour spent numbing your brain with empty content is an hour stolen from your growth, your goals, your relationships, and your future. Entertainment by itself isn't the enemy. Laughter, music, stories, they're part of a rich life. But when entertainment becomes a lifestyle, a routine, an escape, it turns into a slow poison. It dulls your drive. It softens your edge. It keeps you comfortable enough not to notice how far you're drifting from the life you once said you wanted. There's a reason it's called a time killer, because that's exactly what it does. And when you kill time, you're killing potential. You're sacrificing hours you'll never get back. One more episode, one more scroll, one more game, one more mindless loop. They all feel harmless in the moment, but they add up. Add up an hour a day over a year, and that's over 350 hours. That's more than 2 weeks of uninterrupted time. What could you have done with 2 weeks? Learned a language, built a side business, written a book, repaired a relationship, or maybe just learned to be present with yourself. Most people don't choose meaningless entertainment because they love it. They choose it because it's easy, it's comfortable, it asks nothing of you, it doesn't challenge your thinking, it doesn't stretch your capacity, it doesn't confront your insecurities. It just fills the silence and gives your mind a place to hide, but growth only happens in the silence. Creativity is born in boredom. Vision comes when you stop running from stillness. The trap is subtle. It doesn't feel urgent. There's no alarm that goes off when you've wasted your evening. There's no buzzer that sounds when you could have been doing something better. That's why it's so dangerous. It robs you quietly. It doesn't demand much, just your attention, and the more you give it, the less attention you have left for the things that truly matter. It's not about living like a monk, cutting off every screen, avoiding every show, deleting every app. It's about being honest. Is this entertainment adding something to your life, or just filling space? Are you using it intentionally, or is it using you? Are you choosing it, or are you just being carried by it hour after hour, day after day? Some people say they don't have time to chase their goals, to build their dreams, to improve their life. But they always seem to have time for 5 hours of TV or 3 hours of scrolling. The truth is, it's not about time, it's about priorities. And what you repeatedly choose to do in your spare time reveals exactly what your priorities are, whether you want to admit it or not. Entertainment also has a way of shaping your mindset. The content you consume repeatedly influences the way you think, speak, and behave. If you're constantly feeding your mind drama, outrage, gossip, or meaningless chatter, it's no wonder you feel mentally drained. It's no wonder you struggle to focus, to create, to stay motivated. What goes in, comes out. Garbage in, garbage out. Discipline in, progress out. Some people turn to entertainment to cope, to deal with stress, loneliness, anxiety, or even boredom. And for a moment, it works. It distracts you. But it doesn't heal you. It doesn't solve the root of the problem. It just puts a filter over the pain. Real healing takes work. Real peace takes intention. And the longer you avoid it through distraction, the longer you stay stuck in cycles that don't serve you. If you want to live a life that matters, you've got to take back control of your attention. Start treating your time like the asset it is. Guard it. Measure it. Protect it from waste. Use entertainment wisely, not as a way to escape your life, but as a way to enhance it. When used well, it can recharge you, inspire you, even educate you. But when used mindlessly, it becomes a quiet thief, stealing your most valuable resource without making a sound. Stop wasting time on indecision. Indecision is a silent killer of progress. It looks harmless on the surface. You're not saying yes, but you're not saying no either. You're not moving forward, but you haven't exactly given up. You're just stuck in the middle, analyzing, hesitating, waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. And while you wait, life moves on without you. Opportunities pass, doors close, time slips away. People often think they need more information before making a decision. They think if they wait long enough, the answer will become perfectly clear. But clarity doesn't always come from thinking, it often comes from doing. Action creates feedback, feedback creates clarity, and clarity creates confidence. But if you refuse to act until you're 100% sure, you'll end up stuck in a loop of endless questioning. The truth is, you'll never have all the answers. There will always be unknowns, there will always be risks, and that's okay. Progress doesn't require perfection. It requires movement. It requires courage to decide, even if the outcome isn't guaranteed. Every decision teaches you something, even the wrong ones, especially the wrong ones, because those lessons shape you, sharpen you, prepare you for what's next. Some people wait to feel ready before they decide. But readiness is a feeling, not a fact, and feelings are unreliable guides. Sometimes the more important the decision, the more uncomfortable it feels. That discomfort isn't a sign to pause, it's a sign that growth is on the line. If you wait to feel completely comfortable, you'll never make the moves that matter. Growth and comfort do not live in the same house. Indecision is also a defense mechanism. If you never decide, you can never fail. If you never try, you never risk embarrassment. But what most people don't realize is that indecision is its own kind of failure, a passive failure, the kind that leaves you with regret, because deep down, you knew you could have done something, but you didn't. And the pain of what if lingers far longer than the sting of failure ever could. Some decisions are big, life-changing, and those deserve thought, but even then, there's a limit. There's a difference between careful planning and fear disguised as strategy. You can call it caution, but sometimes it's just procrastination wearing a suit. and the longer you stay in that space, the more you lose your edge. You become more comfortable with waiting than acting, more skilled at hesitation than execution. The world doesn't wait. While you hesitate, someone else is moving, someone else is trying, someone else is failing and learning and growing and adjusting. They're not waiting to feel confident, they're building confidence through motion. You don't find purpose sitting still, you discover it while you're doing. You don't find momentum by thinking, you find it by starting. Indecision also drains energy. Holding choices in your mind without resolution takes mental bandwidth. It clutters your thinking, splits your focus, and keeps you from being fully present. You can't give your best to anything when your mind is constantly tied up with what you haven't decided yet. One firm decision, even a small one, can bring more peace than hours of overthinking. People often wait for signs, for certainty, for someone else to tell them what to do. But leadership starts with owning your choices, even the hard ones, especially the hard ones. The most successful people are not the ones who always choose right, they're the ones who choose and then make it right. They adjust, pivot, learn, grow, but they never stay frozen. You don't have to get every decision perfect. You just have to make enough good ones to keep moving forward. And the only way to get better at deciding is to practice. Make the call, choose the path, say yes, say no, but say something. Time won't pause while you ponder. Life keeps moving, and you either move with it, or you watch it pass by while you're still stuck deciding what to do next. Stop wasting time waiting for motivation. Waiting for motivation is one of the most deceptive habits that can slowly drain your life of progress. It sounds reasonable, it feels harmless. You tell yourself you'll start when you feel more inspired, more energized, more confident. You keep waiting for that spark, that surge of drive, that perfect wave of momentum to carry you into action. But more often than not, that moment never comes. Days pass, then weeks, then months. The work stays undone, the goals stay shelved, the dreams stay in the notebook, because you were waiting for a feeling to do what discipline was supposed to handle. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Sometimes it shows up when you least expect it. Other times it's nowhere to be found when you need it most. If you build your habits, your commitments, your routines around motivation, you'll always be on shaky ground. You'll start things with a burst of energy, but the moment that energy fades, so does your consistency. And consistency is what builds results, not enthusiasm. The real secret is this: action creates motivation, not the other way around. You don't need to feel like doing the work in order to do the work. In fact, some of your best progress will come on the days when you didn't feel like showing up, but showed up anyway. It's in the doing that the energy comes. It's in the showing up that the clarity comes. You can't think your way into motivation. You move your way into it. People waste too much time looking for inspiration before they begin. They watch videos, read quotes, scroll through content, looking for that one thing that'll finally flip the switch. But that switch is already inside you, it just gets activated through motion. The first few minutes of effort often feel heavy. That's normal, that's friction, but once you push through that first phase, the momentum starts to build, and soon you're in flow, not because you waited for it, but because you earned it through effort. Most successful people aren't motivated all the time. They're not riding a constant wave of excitement. They're disciplined. They've built routines that carry them through the days when their emotions don't cooperate. They understand that if you only work when you feel like it, you'll never get very far. The gym doesn't care if you're tired. The blank page doesn't care if you're uninspired. The market doesn't care if you're not in the mood. The world rewards execution, not intention. There's a myth that passion should always feel like excitement, that when you find your purpose, you'll bounce out of bed every morning with a grin and a plan. But passion often looks like discipline. Purpose often feels like repetition. Even the things you love will sometimes feel like a grind, and that's okay. It's part of the process. The key is to stop making your emotions the gatekeepers of your action. Discipline is doing it anyway, even when you're tired, even when you're uninspired, even when it's inconvenient, because you've made a decision, and that decision isn't up for debate every time your mood changes. The people who move forward in life don't have fewer doubts or distractions. They just have stronger commitments. Another trap people fall into is comparing themselves to the highlight reels of others. You see someone working hard, creating, performing, succeeding, and you assume they must feel fired up all the time. But what you're seeing is the result, not the struggle. You're seeing the fruit, not the planting, watering, and waiting. They're not running on motivation. They're running on systems, on routines, on choices made day after day, long before the results were visible. You have to build before you feel ready. You have to act before you feel certain. You have to start even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable, even when there's no fire in your chest. Because when you prove to yourself that you can move without motivation, you become unstoppable. You become someone who doesn't wait for permission, someone who doesn't need ideal conditions, someone who isn't tossed around by how they feel on any given morning. Your time is too valuable to waste on waiting. There's no magic moment coming, no perfect mood, no lightning bolt, just a simple choice, to begin, to keep going, to do it anyway, and once you do, that's when the spark appears, not before.